Hello there, Stevos. Welcome along to this week's episode of Steve's Movie Wrap-Up right here on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. I have got 14 movies to get through, to review and talk to you guys about and give you my opinions on, of course. So without further ado, let's roll them titles and start this week's episode of the Movie Wrap-Up. You're watching Steve's Movie Wrap-Up, episode 51, right here on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. The first movie we'll be reviewing in this episode is Poltergeist 2015. So, the first movie I'm going to be reviewing in this episode of the Movie Wrap-Up is Poltergeist from 2015. Not the original, but from 2015, which I've given 1 star over on Letterboxd. So I've given Poltergeist a 1-star rating on Letterboxd just purely for the acting performance of Sam Rockwell, who plays the father in this movie. I thought his acting in this Poltergeist remake was at least somewhat decent and somewhat believable, but let me tell you now, I am walking away from this not just by giving this a 1-star rating, but also walking away knowing that this movie has the most memorable quote, which is, "My underwear is sad." Like, honestly, who wrote this and decided it was a good idea to use that line for this movie? Was it meant to be comical or something? I have once tried to watch the original, and I won't lie, I couldn't get through the movie. It wasn't by any means bad. It just had very frequent, strong flashing images, sequences, which isn't great for someone who does suffer with epileptic seizures. This movie, although it did feature some flashing imagery throughout the film, wasn't as bad as the original, and I believe the original did also come with sequels too, which this one didn't, thank goodness. But in terms of this movie though, I didn't find it by any means scary. There wasn't anything that is original that this movie delivers. The scare factor isn't really there. The jump scares in this movie aren't that effective at all, and the creativity in this movie just isn't there either, making this film to be rather bland. I would also say that the family itself, who are involved in the film, just don't really have that much chemistry. It just feels like their on-screen relationship was just rather forced, if anything. I had never seen this remake of Poltergeist before, and this was released almost 10 years ago, releasing in 2015, and to be honest, I don't think I plan on giving this movie a rewatch again. I am glad to have seen it though, and to have reviewed this too, and I don't think I would recommend this to any horror fan to watch, to be honest. As long as you don't suffer with seizures yourself, I would probably more lean towards recommending the original rather than this, which I should also point uses CGI quite heavily throughout the film. Nothing about any of this feels practical or real, which is unfortunate. I did catch this movie on Prime Video here in the UK, as it was part of the subscription for the streaming service, but at the time of watching the film, it only had 5 days left on Prime Video before leaving the streaming service in the UK, so not sure as to where it may have ended up landing, if it is streaming anywhere here in the anywhere else here in the UK. But Poltergeist, I will say, is available to buy and rent on digital platforms if you do want to try and give this movie a go for yourself, but in all honesty, I wouldn't advise wasting your money and seeing this at all. The Voices. So, The Voices, I have given 4 stars over on Letterboxd, and this one is a rewatch, by the way. I have seen The Voices before, but I just wanted to watch it again on Amazon Prime Video here in the UK before it left the streaming service. The movie does star a young-looking Ryan Reynolds and also stars Anna Kendrick as well. I absolutely enjoyed this movie. It does have some comedy elements to it. It does have its horror elements too, but it also is quite sad, and you do feel sorry for the character that Ryan Reynolds plays, to be honest. The film does have a running time of 1 hour and 44 minutes, and I would say definitely check The Voices out for yourself if you have never seen this one before, because despite the fact that a lot of people will know Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, and yes, while he might be very comedic and funny in that, but when it comes to The Voices, he does play more of a serious role that comes with a dark tone to it as well. I would say that this is probably his best performance that I have seen him in, aside from Deadpool. I feel as though if this is a movie that I can't find elsewhere on a streaming platform, then this may have to be a movie I will end up buying and keeping on digital, because I do enjoy watching this one a lot, and it is a film I do enjoy revisiting from time to time to see Ryan Reynolds in a completely different role than what we are all used to seeing him play.
Olivia Rodrigo Guts World Tour concert movie.
And now we're on to a brand new film that's been released this week over on the streaming service Netflix, and that is in the form of Olivia Rodrigo Guts World Tour, which I gave 4 stars over on Letterboxd. When I saw this was coming to Netflix globally, when it got announced back in September 2024, I knew that I had to give this a watch. I do enjoy listening to Olivia Rodrigo's songs, and the first 2 albums that she has released does feature some favourite songs of mine, which, by the way, she does cover some songs from her debut album titled Sour, as well as her songs from her second album titled Guts during this concert movie. There is also a special guest performance in here from Chappelle Roan, who performs hit single Hot to Go alongside Olivia on stage as well. I did think the production of this was pretty neat, and there was some songs that I did join in and bop along to, and maybe at times did sing along to as well. There was a time once where I wasn't a huge fan of concert movies, but now as the years have gone on, I seem to enjoy them a lot more, or at least get some enjoyment out of them anyways. I did find the ending part really camp, but so funny at the same time. All I'm going to say is I just feel sorry for the security guard that was following behind Olivia Rodrigo. That's all I'm going to say for now. If you're a fan of Olivia Rodrigo, or at least somewhat like some of her music or songs, like I do, then you will get some enjoyment out of this concert movie, so I would recommend it to people who do enjoy her music. And is this one that I can see myself rewatching again sometime in the future? Yeah, I reckon it will be, to be honest. It does have a running time of 1 hour and 44 minutes. So Olivia Rodrigo Guts World Tour is now available to stream over on the streaming service Netflix globally.
Countdown.
And this one is a rewatch in the form of Countdown, which I gave 2 stars on Letterboxd. Countdown is a movie which got released in 2019, and here we are now 5 years later reviewing this the movie for Countdown, a horror movie where people download an app which tells them when they're going to die, basically. Now, it hasn't taken me exactly 5 years to watch this film, as I have seen it before. I think in the last 5 years, actually, I've seen this one multiple times. It does have its flaws and its problems, don't get me wrong. Some will argue and say that this film isn't great, which I do agree with. It's not like the best horror movie I have ever seen. If it was, then it would have a much higher star rating than 2 stars on Letterboxd. But that being said, what has always interested me in the last few years to go back and rewatch this from time to time again is the premise behind the movie. The movie itself does have a running time of 90 minutes. Why do I get the feeling that a sequel for Countdown was in the works? I'm not too sure if there is, or if there were plans for a sequel. But that being said, though, I do feel as though I do wish that they had made this movie slightly longer, probably 15 minutes longer. Just flesh out some character development here and there, but also just to make the film slightly more scary, maybe add in a few more jump scares here and there. And maybe I would suggest having a better final act, a more stronger final act than we got here, sadly. But Countdown is now streaming over on Amazon Prime Video.
Mr. Bean the movie.
Taking a break from horror movies and concert movies, I watched the Mr. Bean movie earlier this week as well, which I gave 3 stars over on Letterboxd. A film from my childhood, a film that I have revisited countless times. I recently saw this flag up on my suggested to watch movies on Amazon Prime here in the UK as part of my Prime Video subscription, so I added it to my watch list and decided to give this one a watch. It might not be a horror movie, but it is a horror movie in its own very chaotic and unique way. Who decided to give Mr. Bean his own movie? Was the TV series not enough? I mean, not that I'm complaining. I would say that this movie is better than the sequel, which was Mr. Bean's Holiday, Which is funny because that movie was going to play next after the film had finished. But that being said though, I still enjoyed Mr. Bean the movie. It's a film I will always remember growing up and watching. It's a film that I think will hold a forever special place in my heart as well. And it's one of those films from the 90s that I do enjoy watching. When I said earlier in this review that Mr. Bean is a horror film in its own unique, chaotic way, I was talking about wherever Mr. Bean goes, trouble does soon follow. And that is true. People who have seen the TV series, whether it be animated or live action, will know this by now. And in this film, it's no different, as Mr. Bean, played by Rowan Atkinson, is sent off to LA for the unveiling of a painting which costed America $50 million to purchase. What could possibly go wrong? Well, there is a few things that can go wrong, and as mentioned, when Mr. Bean is around, trouble does seem to follow him. There are some gags from the live-action TV series that people will probably recognise in here. There are some funny moments in here, and also there are some moments that people will find wholesome in here as well. I do always enjoy revisiting and rewatching this movie from time to time. I haven't realised this until now, but Sandra Oh stars in this movie. You also have June Brown, who played Dot Cotton in the British soap opera EastEnders. She has a brief cameo appearance in here. And Johnny Galecki, who some people will recognise as Leonard from Big Bang Theory, also stars in this movie as well. Is this a film that I would recommend? Easily yes, because if you're a fan of Mr. Bean, then I'm sure you will love this one and maybe have the same opinion as me, that this movie, released in 1997, is better than the sequel, Mr. Bean's Holiday. The film does have a running time of 1 hour 30 minutes / 90 minutes, so it's a nice easy watch film that doesn't outstay its welcome at all. But Mr. Bean the movie is streaming on the streaming service Amazon Prime Video here in the UK.
Haunt.
So the next film that I have seen this week is Haunt, which I gave 2.5 stars over on Letterboxd. So Haunt is a movie which was released back in 2019, which is so strange to me because I never knew this movie existed until earlier this year when it kept flagging up on Netflix at the beginning of the year. Then I saw it was available to stream here in the UK on streaming service Tubi, and then I saw it was also available to stream as part of your subscription on Prime Video here in the UK as well. So at this point, I thought I might as well check this one out because clearly most streaming services wanted me to check this one out. So I caved and I did. So what did I think of Haunt? Given the fact that I have never really heard about this movie in 2019 or in the last 4 years up until earlier this year, I did think this movie was fine. It's about a group of people who end up going to a Halloween party. Then after the party is finished, they drive up to this house, which a sign lights up saying that it's a haunted house. So they decide to go and check this house out. There are some rules, and one rule in particular is no use of mobile phones. So they had to leave their phones in this box, which is kept outside this haunted house. Clearly, none of these people have ever seen a horror movie in their life, because if that was me and I was told to put my phone in a box which is left outside the haunted house, I didn't think I would continue with this. If anything, I would probably turn around and leave. Either I go in with my mobile or my mobile comes with me as I walk away from the house. See, there was some decent moments from this film that I did enjoy. I did find though, and this is the first time I have seen this film, I felt as though the final act was rather rushed, but maybe that had something to do with the short running time, as the movie did clock in at 1 hour and 33 minutes. That being said though, the film does come with some decent amount of jump scares, which I'm not afraid to admit did get me at times. I thought some of the masks were rather creepy, and the people behind their masks were rather creepy. Well, even more creepier than their masks are. I just wish the death scenes were slightly more brutal to watch on the screen, because there are some deaths in here which, if you blink, you'll miss it, which is unfortunate for people who have come for a horror movie to witness a character death and see blood and gore in a horror movie. Is Haunt a movie I can see checking out again? There is a likely chance it does have a potential to be revisited again in the near future. And is this a movie that I would recommend people to watch? I think so, particularly as Halloween fast approaches at the time of doing this review. Then I would say add this to your Halloween watch list. Maybe this could be an annual watch for me, but I haven't really decided on that one yet. So Haunt is available to stream here in the UK on streaming services, Prime Video, Netflix, and is also available to stream on the free streaming service Tubi here in the UK as well.
Time cuts.
It is time for another new movie that got released earlier this week over on Netflix, and it is Time Cut, which I gave 1 star over on Letterboxd. There was a film that was released last year in 2023 on Amazon Prime Video called Totally Killer, and I remember watching it and I didn't enjoy it at all. Fast forward a year later, we have what seems to be a knockoff version of Totally Killer called Time Cut, except this one is released on Netflix and not Amazon Prime Video. So what did I think of this one? I'll be honest, I think I prefer watching Totally Killer than watching Time Cut. Actually no, I think I might as well just say I rewatched Totally Killer than watched a new movie on Netflix. I really wish now I could travel back in time to 90 minutes ago when I hit play on this film and just tell myself to not bother watching this film because it wasn't great at all. The plot was basically the same as Totally Killer. The mask that the killer had on was also very bizarrely the same as the mask used in Totally Killer. Probably a few adjustments here and there though. And you know what? This isn't something I would tend to do in a review, but at this point, I'm going to ruin the ending here and save you all 90 minutes watching this. The sister, called Summer, is saved, and she lives on for another 20 years with her girlfriend, and they all basically live happily ever after. There we go. I'm sorry if I spoiled that movie for you guys, but you know what? I've just saved you 90 minutes. Anyway, so just in case you need a little background as to what this film is about, the movie starts off 21 years ago in 2003. God, this movie makes me feel so damn old now. I've lived through 2003. Can we please not make time travel movies that go from present day to early 2000s? Because seriously, it makes me feel so damn old. Anyways, as the film starts 21 years ago, we see a girl called Summer, full name Summer Field. I know, such a bizarre, weird name. She gets murdered by this masked serial killer. Then we fast forward to present day in 2024, where her 20-year-old sister Lucy ends up finding this time machine. She goes back in time to 2003 to try and stop her sister from being killed. Oh, and I must note that Lucy never existed in 2003. So I don't even think she was conceived at this point. But not only does she try to stop her sister being killed, she also tries to save the other people from being killed by this masked killer in 2003. The dialogue in this film is so corny, and also the plot twist, the killer reveal towards the end is rather predictable, although I will say that this film isn't all doom and gloom, given the fact that I have given this film a 1-star rating on Letterboxd, as I did find that there was some slightly good elements to the film. It does recapture that 2003 look and image rather well, particularly the set designs as well. You know, the old looking computers that we had in 2003. And the CD players. We must have all owned one of those in 2003. What bedroom did not have a CD player in it? Anyway, can I also say that the Buffy the Vampire Slayer poster in Summer's bedroom in this film was so damn nostalgic too. Speaking of nostalgia, the music / soundtrack in here was so nostalgic, as you had songs from like the likes of Wheatus and Avril Lavigne play in this movie, which was so awesome to hear. Even the clothing and style the characters were wearing in the 2003 scenes, it did capture those 2003 memories and those vibes for sure. But would I even class this as a horror movie? Sadly, I don't. There was some deaths, but the camera just pans away from them as they are being murdered, so we actually don't see any gore in this film, sadly. I don't even know really what genre I would put this film down to either, because it definitely wasn't screaming horror movie vibes at me, unfortunately, which is a shame because I was looking forward to seeing this one when it did get released. A little fun fact to wrap up this review for Time Cut on Netflix is that the guy who did Happy Death Day, which is another time travel movie, Christopher Landon, helped produce this movie. But this sadly didn't, for me, capture that same vibe that I get from watching Happy Death Day. And yet, I enjoy watching Happy Death Day whenever I get the chance to watch it. Is this a movie I could see myself revisiting and rewatching? I don't think this will be, sadly. And is this a movie I can recommend for people to watch? Well, if you want a dumb movie to stick on that might give you that slight hint of nostalgia from your childhood if you was born before 2003, that is, then sure, I'd say give it a go. But trust me, it's not a brilliant movie at all. And I'm sorry for spoiling the ending, but I just had to. It's not something I would ever do in a review, but I just want to save you the time of watching this movie, which wasn't great at all, to be honest. But, oh, excuse me, Time Cut is now streaming over on the streaming service Netflix globally.
No Way Up.
So, the next movie I have seen this week is another rewatch in the form of No Way Up, which got released earlier this year. And I've given it the same score as I did when I first reviewed it, which is 2 stars over on Letterboxd. So, I have rewatched No Way Up after watching this one earlier this year, and I did still enjoy this one. I don't think it is realistic in some ways, but in other ways, if you have a fear of flying, then this movie will definitely worsen those fears, I guess, as it does put all the characters involved in a deadly situation. Don't get me wrong, sometimes these plane crashes where they end up in the ocean, it has happened before. I myself used to know someone who ended up being involved in a plane crash where the plane ended up crashing into the Atlantic Ocean, which sadly meant that that person I knew lost their life among all the other passengers on board the flight. So I guess this scenario is possible that features in this movie, but also rather rare as well. I myself have never been on a plane, never been abroad, and at the moment I don't have a fear of flying, to be honest, but seeing this movie does make me think, what if this truly did happen to me? How would I possibly get out of this scenario? And if there are any other survivors on board the wreckage, how would I manage to get them out safely without them being killed? There's a lot at stake here, I guess, but No Way Up is now able to stream over on the streaming service Amazon Prime Video here in the UK.
Run, Sweetheart, Run.
Run, Sweetheart, Run is another movie that I've rewatched this week, and I've gave it 3 stars over on Letterboxd. This movie has been out for the last 4 years, and it does seem to appear that every year during spooky season, I always come back and revisit Run, Sweetheart, Run on Amazon Prime Video. This is a movie that I do find quite decent, to be honest. I know that I watch this annually, and even now, I do still enjoy watching Run, Sweetheart, Run. I could have sworn I remember reading somewhere once that this is set in the same universe as the movie Ready or Not, starring Samara Weaving. But anyways, for those who don't know about this movie, it's about a woman who ends up meeting up with this client, and he ends up taking her out on a night out, and they have a really perfect time together. The woman thinks she has struck gold with this dude, and she thinks he is absolutely amazing and such a gentleman as well. Well, that is until he allows her into his home after their date night out, which he turns violent, and then she ends up going on the run for her life before he catches up to her to kill her. I think there was a couple of red flags here, there. I mean, for one, if I was in this situation with a woman, if she didn't like dogs, then I would definitely be making a run for it straight away. That's a red flag in my book. But anyway, Run, Sweetheart, Run is available to stream over on the streaming service Amazon Prime Video if you want to check this one out for yourselves.
Carved.
So the next movie I've watched this week is a brand new movie that recently got released here on Disney Plus in the UK called Carved, which I gave 1.5 star over on Letterboxd. Carved is the second movie to be released on Hulu in the United States as part of Huluween, and has also been released internationally on Disney+. And as Halloween is basically at the time of doing this review here, I decided that it was time to finally check this movie out before the Halloween season was over. So, what did I think of this one? Well, similar to the other movie that Hulu released this year for Huluween, or Halloween, Mr. Croquette, this movie is set in the 90s, and it does capture those 90s vibes. I have been enjoying these movies for that aspect, and I will admit that this one did capture a few laughs from me, as this was more of a horror comedy. But this also surprisingly had some gore in this, which is also interesting, as Mr. Croquette did also have some gore elements to it as well. However, though, I have given this movie a 1.5-star rating, so it's not all positive stuff when it comes down to reviewing this movie, as it did have its issues. The movie does have a running time of 1 hour and 34 minutes, and does star Disney star Elizabeth Peyton-List, and I do fear that if parents came across this and put it on for their child, given it has a Disney star in it, then they're going to be in for a shock when they watch it with their child, particularly as there is some expletive swearing in here, and of course, as mentioned before, there is the gore in here too. I will also say that the dialogue is pretty bad in places, especially towards the end, as there is a character who looks at this killing pumpkin that is made from a radioactive element and says, "Please don't kill me, I'll be your bitch." Part of me found the line to be funny, the way it was delivered anyways, and part of me was like, why is this line in here? So there are some dialogue which does make me question this film. I will also say that the final act of the film, which I won't spoil, but the final act for the movie though is weak, I would say, and also this movie doesn't seem to take itself too seriously. It's just more of a dumb movie, if you ask me, than a movie you can take seriously. I guess, after all, that is where the comedy elements does come into this horror movie. Is this a film that I can see myself watching again during the next spooky season? There is a possibility that I could do, and is this a movie that I will recommend people to watch? I think so. Even if you decide to watch this the once and once only, then I'm sure you might get some enjoyment out of this movie and have a different opinion on Carved to what I did. But Carved is streaming on Hulu over in the US and on Disney Plus around the world.
Christie.
Christie is the next movie, which I gave 3 stars over on Letterboxd. I'll be honest here, Christie is a film that I saw listed over on Prime Video earlier this year, and it did say for me that it was released in 2024, but it turns out this movie was actually released 10 years ago in 2014, so therefore I won't add this to my list of movies in 2024 over on Letterboxd. But that being said though, what did I think of Christie? Well, if you kill Christie, you kill God. Those are the rules according to this movie, and I will say that the movie does take a while for it to get started, admittedly, and it did take me a little bit of time before I could get into this movie for myself. It does come with a short running time of 1 hour and 26 minutes. I will be honest that this movie does come with a decent soundtrack as well. There is a song that they play in this movie called Pumping Blood, and I haven't heard that song in a while on Spotify or anything like that. And it has now shocked me to know that that song is 10 years old, because 10 years ago, 17/18-year-old me had that song on repeat. Anyways, the actress that plays the main character, Justine in Christie, played by Hayley Bennett, I thought was an awesome actress to play the final girl in the movie. You also have Ashley Greene, Lucas Hill and Chris Coy in this movie as well. The plot for the movie is when a college girl who is alone on campus over the Thanksgiving break is targeted by a group of outcasts. She must conquer her deepest fears to outwit them and fight back. But Christie is now available to stream here in the UK on Amazon Prime Video.
Lego Marvel Avengers Code Reds.
So next up, I watched Lego Marvel Avengers Code Red, which I gave 2 stars over on Letterboxd. Lego Marvel Avengers Code Red is a little Lego animated movie that was released on Disney Plus about a year ago, and it has taken me until now to give this a watch. So what did I think of this short animated film? Well, I think it's great for people who are fans of Marvel to see, despite the fact that this might be reaching a more younger audience than the die-hard Marvel fans out there, but this does include characters who haven't really appeared in the MCU movies just yet, like for example, Red She-Hulk being one of the characters. However though, we do see the Avengers in here made up of Black Panther, Black Widow, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor and Captain America, all featuring in this animated special. When Black Widow's father ends up going missing, who is Red Guardian, as well as other characters with the name Red in their names, the Avengers go in a quest to defeat whoever has kidnapped these characters. The villain in question is called the Collector. He has already kidnapped Red Skull, Red Ghost and Red Guardian, and is now on the mission to kidnap Red She-Hulk. Which is funny because in this animated film, Red She-Hulk is the ex-girlfriend of Hulk. There are some moments which, surprisingly, I did find quite funny, to be honest, so this did get a couple of laughs out of me. The running time for this is just 45 minutes, but I would say it is still a decent watch. Is this worth checking out over on Disney Plus? Despite the fact this may be aimed more at a younger audience, I would say for any Marvel fan out there to check this one out for yourselves, or even if you are a fan of Lego or Lego animated stuff, I would say to check this one out. But Lego Marvel Avengers Code Red is now available on streaming service Disney Plus worldwide.
Lego Marvel Avengers Mission Demolition.
Sticking with the Lego Marvel Avengers theme here, and I've watched Lego Marvel Avengers Mission Demolition over on Disney Plus, which was released in the last month or so on a streaming platform. Do they release a Lego Marvel Avengers special each year? I do wonder, and I will say that this one was slightly better than the Lego Marvel Avengers animated special that I watched from last year in 2023, titled Code Red, and I gave Lego Marvel Avengers Mission Demolition 3 stars over on Letterboxd. So it does have so many more Marvel character cameos in here as well, as you have Vision, Iron Man, Black Widow, Hulk, Thor, Captain America, Black Panther, Frank Castle / The Punisher, Daredevil, Moon Girl, Ghost Spider, Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, Groot, Rocket Raccoon, Iceman, Gambit, She-Hulk, The Thing from Fantastic Four, and we have a small cameo appearance of Deadpool towards the end of the special. And I must say that I really did enjoy this Avengers team up. It was pretty awesome. Avengers fan Dennis works for Damage Control alongside co-worker Terry when he ends up causing more mess and a chance of potentially missing out on Avengers Con. He gets the help from his co-worker Terry, who ends up booting up a machine called Galactus from the Damage Control Center and begins to take over the world as Galactus starts vacuuming up people, including the Avengers team. Terry then ends up becoming the villain called Terrax, and it's down to Dennis, aka Demolition Man, to save the world and the Avengers team. The special animated Lego Avengers does have a running time of 43 minutes, and I would say that I do recommend this to any Marvel fan out there, or anyone who likes these Lego animated specials. I did really enjoy this one a lot, to be honest, and I can see me coming back and rewatching this one again in the future. Lego Marvel Avengers Mission Demolition is now streaming on Disney Plus worldwide.
Prom Dates.
And the final movie I've seen this week is Prom Dates, which I gave 2 stars over on Letterboxd. On Disney Plus? On Letterboxd. Prom Dates is a movie that got released on Disney Plus internationally and on Hulu in the US earlier this year. And I have only just got around to watching this movie now. So what did I think of Prom Dates? I'm going to be honest, I feel as though I have seen this type of movie before, and I have. It's almost like somebody at Disney had seen the movie Booksmart and decided to give their own version a go. I'll be honest here, Booksmart is far better than this movie. Also, I feel as though the other movie that took inspiration to make Prom Dates possible was the movie Bottoms as well. So if you're wondering what those two movies would have looked like under Disney's umbrella, then you'll basically get your answer when you watch this film. Now, Prom Dates, it isn't one of those family-friendly movies that you will find and be able to sit down and watch with the family. It does cover drugs. You do see some characters take drugs in this movie. And yes, they do, of course, talk about sex in this movie as well. The one thing that you can praise this movie for, though, is the use of LGBT representation with one of the main characters in Prom Dates. And they do even have a coming-out arc for the character, although when she did come out to her best friend and revealed that she is gay, her best friend was cool with the fact that she's a lesbian and always had a feeling that her best friend is a lesbian, so I can give the movie some praise for that. The movie, however, does have a running time of 1 hour and 25 minutes, and I'll be honest, I do feel as though this movie does fill its running time in the sense that the movie has a lot of chewing. So it does feel like they have bit off more than they can chew in terms of plot and story. And it does feel as though they have a lot to cover in the short space of 1 hour and 25 minutes. So if they had maybe made this movie around 1 hour and 45 minutes, then maybe they would have a lot more room to tell the story and tell the side stories that they wanted to tell, and then film for me anyways, would have felt less rushed. There wasn't really actors or actresses that I recognised in this movie who I have seen in projects before, but the two actresses who played main characters, Jess and Hannah, in this movie, though, I thought they played the roles well in the movie Prom Dates. But Prom Dates is available to stream on Hulu in the United States and on Disney Plus internationally. And that is it for this week's episode of the movie wrap-up. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do stay tuned for the next episode of the movie wrap-up, because I am going to be reviewing a couple more brand new movies, and I'm sure that there is going to be a couple of re-watches coming up as well in the next episode of the movie wrap-up, and I'll go through all them re-watches with you as and when I do watch them as well in the next episode of the movie wrap-up. But guys, thank you for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, then please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what movies you guys have been watching recently, whether it's old, new, in cinemas, or even on digital platforms or streaming or Blu-ray, DVD, VHS, all that stuff, okay? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, if you are new around here and you like what you see, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below to become a Stevo. So your next YouTube video is coming out tomorrow, Wednesday the 20th of November 2024 at 4 PM UK time. It is going to be my next episode of Steve's weekly vlog for you guys, okay? But I hope you can join me then. But from me for now, it's goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again in my next YouTube video.